Okay, so we're getting into area and perimeter now, and this is just sort of understanding area. We're going to go through this a little bit quickly because there are many layers to understanding area. The actual definition for area, though, so let's scratch. Area is, it's basically the number of squares or square units needed to fill in a space. And when we are doing area is length times width. To find area, you are always multiplying. Sometimes, though, you are dividing. Sometimes you would need to do L equals area divided by width. And that will make more sense to you when we start practicing it. So, to begin, to just get a basic understanding of area, if we're talking about the number of squares, that literally means the number of squares. If I were to draw something that was, let's say, 3 down and 4 over, the area of this shape that I have just now drawn is literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the area is 12. The length of it is 4. The width of it is 3. So is this, I'm going to write a sentence here, and you tell me if this is correct. So 12 equals 4 times 3. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. 4 equals 12 divided by 3. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. 3 equals 12 divided by 4. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So finding area is multiplying or sometimes dividing if you're given the area and are missing a side. So let's start and let's look at here. Let's look at these shapes in here. We're not going to count. We're just going to kind of look and see. If it's asking if this is an exact area or if you can estimate the area. Now, if I'm looking at this little circle guy right here, I can see in this circle, there are little half guys here. They're cut in half, and they're kind of not correctly cut in half, like it's a curved line. So I can't really accurately say. So I'm going to have to estimate. There's only one full square in there. And the rest are sort of little chunks and pieces of it. So I can say safely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's about 5. It's around that. But I'm estimating. Now, if I'm looking at this guy, oh, that is a nice one. That is nothing but lines, straight lines and right angles. A right angle is the corner of a square. I can count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There we go. I can accurately say what the area is. So if a square is never filled in completely, you have to estimate for now. But if you have straight lines, no problem. You can count those. That is easy to tell. Okay? Now, what if we look on this page now, and we're actually given measurements. If we're given an actual measurement, and we're having to find the area. Like if I'm looking at this rectangle right here, 7 inches by 3 inches, and it says, what is the area? Find out the area of this space. What would I do to find that out? What would I do? 7 times 3. So if I have area equals 7 times 3, then area equals what? 21. What about this little guy? It's almost a square, but it's not quite. It's 5 by 4. 5 by 4 literally means 5 times 4, right? So the area for that is 20. What about 14 times 8? Ooh, that might take a little bit more brain power there. 14 times 8. So area equals 14 times 8. What's 8 times 4? 32. And then 8 times 1 plus 3? 112 is the area for that, for this little rectangle here. Ooh, how am I supposed to figure out the area here? It only gives me one number. What is a super big, obvious, in-your-face clue that will help me solve this?
It's a square.
It's a square. What do I know about squares? They are all equal. This is an equilateral shape. An equilateral shape means everything is the same. So what am I going to do to find the area here? What multiplication sentence am I going to do?
9 times
9. 9 times 9. What is 9 times 9? 81. So if I ever see a square, I immediately know that I'm just doing a doubles fact. That's it. Now down here, this is going to be you practicing it on your own. But 7 and 8, you actually have to measure it first. Yes, and we'll do that later, so don't worry about it at this moment. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about is sometimes when we're doing area, you're given a shape. Let's say I've got a shape like this. And I have area equals 15. And then I have the length, which is 3. But I don't know what the width is. This is when remembering this part really helps you. I know what area is, so I'm trying to figure out what my missing piece is. I don't know what W is. I know that area equals length times width. So 15 equals 3 times width. So that's when I can flip it and say, well, 15 equals 3 times what? I know I see your faces. You know this. I did an easy one on purpose. But when it gets more tricky, you flip it around and say, okay, well, 3 equals 15 divided by. Or you can just do the reverse in your head and know what is 3 times 3 going to equal 15. So 3 times 5 is 15. So in this case, I wasn't solving the area. I was finding the missing piece. And that missing piece, so I would say W equals 5. Now, what if I was being tricked? What if I got a picture that looked so close to being a square? Even if it looks close like a square, if you see 2 different numbers, even if you see 2 different letters, if you see X and Y, then there's only 1 number per letter and 1 letter per number. So if I see X and an X, I know that these 2 are the same number. I know that Y must be a different number. So even if it's like super darn close to being a square, if I see an X and a Y, done. It's not a square. Now, with this is no problem finding the area. That's cool. I can do that. I can multiply or I can divide to solve it. Sometimes I have to kind of go in there and problem solve. But what if I come across area of irregular shapes? Irregular shapes. These are the weird looking shapes. This is when it kind of comes into counting these squares again, or using the measurements that you are given. So if I'm looking at a shape like this, it says Mr. Fox is covering a miniature golf course hole with artificial grass. How many 1-foot squares of carpet will Mr. Fox need to cover the miniature golf course hole? So what you need to do is, first off, you could just count, but my goodness, that would take a long time. What if I were to sort of separate it in a way? What if I were to go, okay, well, how about this? This is 3, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 3 by 6, right? Mm-hmm. So that means the area of this spot is,
24.
What did I say? Did I say 6?
It's 3 by
8. 3 by 8, my bad. 3 by 8 is 24. So this spot's 24. That means this spot is 24. So all I need to figure out is that little chunk of guy. 2, 4, 6, 8. So 24 plus 24 plus 8. 24, 24, 8. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. 2, 4, 5. 56. So I can break it down and find areas of different pieces and then just give myself a big addition problem. And I can handle that. I can manage that. So when we're looking at weird little shapes, even if it's a straight line I can kind of deal with. This shape here, this is some crazy looking little shape. But if you notice how it's been colored in yellow, that one yellow piece makes one hole. So you have to kind of look at that and see, this had a little tip taken off, but that little tip was sort of just like sliced and then sort of moved. Same with the purple. There's that missing tip here. Well, it was just sliced off to move over there. So that can count as one. And that's when you have to get a little bit more specific with how you're looking at it. And that's when it really helps to draw it out. Any shape that's cut in half, especially when using straight lines, will have its missing piece somewhere else inside that shape. Most of the time, it will work. And usually the book will make sure to it. So we're not going to get too much into this one. It's mainly understanding that we can break things down and understand that section by section can be added up to get the total area. Okay? So main things to know. Area is basically inside. Area is inside the shape. Inside the shape. And you're mainly focusing on multiplication or division. Now, if you're doing crazy, weird looking shapes, then yes, you're going to have some addition in there as well. But the main thing to know is area equals length times width. And sometimes you're given the area and you got to find the width or the length. Or sometimes you're given the width and length and you got to find the area. Either way, you're just being tested on your multiplication. Area is not that bad, right?